How's it going, guys? D Black Tay here, bringing you guys another Samurai 8 video. And today we're going to be talking about chapter 28. This chapter came out late on Manga Stream. I think it came out on a Saturday again. And so I've been pretty busy with school and stuff, so you guys are getting it now. You'll probably get another video later today. Maybe. Who knows? So let's get into this chapter, right? So it starts off where we left off last week. And last week we got Daruma. He was looking back into his past where he was talking to Yasha about how he was too strong and Ususama killed his princess. They killed his student, they took his student Ata under them, and they took his evil body holder, whatever happened with that, and they trapped him inside a cat body. So we got that flashback, and Hachimaru threw Daruma's handlebone back to him because Yasha gave her a piece of his soul, and now he's able to transform into his human body for a specific amount of time. But there's like certain side effects, such as his wound will never heal, and he'll be paralyzed for a short amount of time. So we start where that left off, basically where Daruma's going into his human form. So we get Hachimaru to start off. He's in front of Demon Oniwakamaru, and he's looking at this bright light. He's like, what's happening? And what is this giant monster robot thing behind me, right? And so it's just basically Daruma, changing into his human form. He's like, Benki, you told me to stop hiding secrets. Well, let's do this. So Daruma, he brings back some he said all the way in chapter 1, where he's like, I hate leaving the cat in the bag. I hate keeping the cat in the bag. He's not that type of dude. He's very straight up and serious. So, he says it's just not in my nature to stay quiet and hide my identity. But Daruma, you always going to sleep, alright? So, I don't know, man. I don't know. But we keep going. So Binky, he realizes that this is Daruma of the Konguyasha style. So he starts flying back. He's like, yo, why is this dude here? Like, of all the people that I could run into, why is it this guy? So it's like, why is it this guy, right? And so Hachimaru's like, I knew it. It's the hero from that samurai game, Daruma, right? And so, Daruma's like, don't wander around too much, Hachimaru, stay behind me. And so Hachimaru notices that Daruma's speech pattern kind of changes up a bit. And he says, kid. And so he's like, he seems different somehow. And so the giant turtle holder, who we didn't see last chapter, now appears in front of them. I guess like there's like a signal that Daruma can send like telepathically to the holder. Like I was saying, like there's a key connection between the samurai soul and the key holder. So, but let's keep going. So the holder appears. He says, Hachimaru, thank you for picking up my handle bone. How is it below? And so, Hachimaru just explains, yeah, I cleaned up all that. Kataga's no issue. We got that done. So Daruma, he looks at his hand. He notices that where he stabbed himself with Yasha's samurai soul, it hasn't healed. And so, Daruma's just basically remembering Yasha's words, where it's like, hey, do this when you have a strong student that you trust in, right? And so now Daruma's, Hachimaru's like, hey, you're blind, right? So how are you going to fight this thing? And so Daruma's like, I can see, which I thought he could always see because he's able to fight like no problem. And there's other panels where it's like all black and white, where he sees like an outline of the people that he's going up against, or like Hachimaru when he was fighting Sen, or Binky when he was analyzing Binky. And so we finally get the information on that. He's like, I've always been able to see. My AI has like some artificial intelligence that can hack into my eyes and give me, some visual sight. And it comes out like this Robloxy cube kind of thing, like Minecraft. And it's just like a bunch of cubes put together, basically. And so that's how he sees Binky. And so he says it's kind of cute. And so Binky comes in with a slash, he's like, says the guy wearing a cat costume, right? So Daruma stops this with one, you know what? I don't even want to say it's a slash. He just put his sword out there and the attack stopped. So I don't even know if there was strength behind this attack. So, now he's like, I'm going to put on a show for you. He does Konguyasha style blade bark, which is, I think, is just an upgraded of the Konguyasha style doggy paddle where, you can send a propulsion, right? But this is on a wider scale. It's much stronger because he's able to cut, knock off Onewakamaru's sword that's, attached to his arm. And he's able to knock, his body back a considerable distance. And so even Hachimaru notices it's on a totally different scale from the last one. So Daruma, he mentions, I have no princess anymore. I cannot even use half of the power of my peak. And it's rare that I fight in this form now. So, he goes after Binky. He's like, hey, Hachimaru, watch me so you can learn from this. And we get this funny moment where Hachimaru's like, hey, how am I supposed to learn something? You're too strong. And so Daruma's like, you will surpass me. And so we're now about to get Daruma's Keyholder ship transformation, right? So he's about to get that armor. And so it looks pretty cool from the face. And so, we get on to the next page. It's like Konguyasha style. And then we just see on his back, right, it's like this pole extending out of him, and it has these shields connected to it and like a giant thruster on the back. So it gives him capabilities to fly, and it gives him a shield. And so now we see that he has two swords, and I'm assuming this from his samurai soul and Yasha's samurai soul. And so now he has two blades, and he uses shooting things, and so he cuts off Binky or Oniwakimaru's arms. And, Hachimaru's just in the background like, my master's cool. And so we get the name for Daruma's holder, and it's Yoken. I have no idea what that means, so let me know it down below in the comments. And so, at this point, Binky's like freaking out, right? So he tries kicking Daruma, and it does a little bit of damage to his shield, but it's a shield, so, he just perpetually blocks it, and then he tries blasting off. And Daruma's like, where you going, bro? I got this. And so Daruma, he speeds up after him. Binky's like, oh, this guy's too fast. And so we get this beautiful space panel where Daruma and Binky, they're flying out the sky, and Hachimaru's watching, and it's like a shooting star almost, shooting throughout the sky, and it's like really amazing how it's drawn. And so, Hachimaru's just on the side, so this is what a space battle is like. And then Daruma's like, this game of tag is over, and he used Konguyasha style woodwrecker. So essentially, this is just taking your sword and stabbing your opponent like multiple times, like a woodpecker when they stab a tree, basically. So this looks like what this attack is. Basically, if you think of a woodpecker pecking at a tree, this is this attack, except with a sword. And so it's just stabbing Binky throughout his body, legs, his tail, just like everything. Like Daruma is just messing this guy up right now. And we have to realize it's just half of his power. So we get this next panel. It's Daruma. He's still in the sky. The totem holder's in the back, and we just get Binky just on a walking model, just completely broken up into a bunch of tiny pieces. And so we get Binky still holding on to his sword. Hachimaru's like, Master, we did it. And Binky's like, what's this? I can't regenerate. And so he asks Daruma, you can use the Sotoken. What is that? Apparently it's like a sealing technique. I'm not really sure what the description is. I'm probably going to do later on when I'm later on, I'm planning to do this samurai school video talking about their gear and whatnot, so I might touch on this a little bit later on what Sorokin is. So, Daruma's like, I'm an initiate, yes, of course I've mastered it. So this looks like if you've mastered the style, you can use this type of sealing technique that stops, regeneration and whatnot. So Daruma mentions that you can't go back to your old body again. It's just like the scar over my right eye. So people were like, "Oh, how are these these fights aren't gonna have any, what's the word I'm looking for? These fights aren't gonna have any impact or like seriousness to them because samurai are always to regenerate, and we know this from back when Ato was fighting. The clone Ato was fighting Hachimaru, and he was essentially able to regenerate his whole body. So this is now taking us to the point where it's like, yeah, samurai can get injured, and this is like when we first got Mugen, and Mugen was all scarred up back in the earlier chapters. So samurai can get injured. There are certain abilities that do not allow them to regenerate. Sorokin is one of them, and apparently this is allowable from being an initiate into the school. And so Daruma says, I've mastered it, basically. And so we now know how Daruma got the scar over his right eye. It's from one of these techniques. So he probably lost it, had this happen in a high level fight. So now we're back on the planet Kinka, and Anne's asking if Hachimaru's okay. She's talking to the little Hayataro that was left there to protect Anne, and so the connections come back on for Kotuka's earpiece, and she's wondering if Ben won. And so now we're getting into the meat of the more in-depth stuff of the chapter, because now we're starting to get into Kotuka's past, and I think we're going to get more of that next chapter because we don't get the full flesh outness of it. So let's keep going. So Daruma asks Ben, why do you have Yoshitsune's samurai soul? Kotuka can hear this through the headset, and Daruma's like, the other samurai soul you have in your stomach, that will undoubtedly belong to Yoshitsune. So now we know that Daruma and this Yoshitsune guy, the ship jumper, who is also I believe that this is the guy that was talking to the woman, that was saying that, Kotuka has a 2% chance of becoming a samurai, basically. So Yoshitsune and Daruma had some type of relationship, or, he just knew of him because Yoshitsune was a really strong samurai. Next, Ben's like, that's none of your business. And then Daruma's like, do you think I can't deal with key protection as weak as yours? Hacking memory unit. So, samurai can hack memory units. This is very interesting. I didn't think this would... Well, no, actually, I thought this was pretty possible because it should be one of their functions. Like, all their memories of techniques and stuff is stored inside a key unit that is essentially serves as like their brain and whatnot, and their key serves as the spine. So the brain has like all the techniques where you can download skills and whatnot, but it also holds your memories, etc. So other samurai or other people can hack into it, and this also says that the stronger you are, the stronger your key should have protection over it. So it should take a while to hack into it. So we'll probably see this later on in a future arc, when we start to get when we want to know more about the world or etc. So we get this flashback, Daruma, and it's a really nice panel. It's Daruma basically looking into Ben's memory, and it's a picture of Yoshitsune. Either this is his princess or his wife. We get Ben, and we get a young Kotuka. And then we get a middle panel of Kotuka and Ben. Ben is young. He has his horns because he's an Oni. And then for the very bottom panel, Yoshitsune's mom, or not his mom, but his wife or his princess, she has a cut, it looks like, through her stomach. She's bleeding out. And Yoshitsune has returned into a locker ball. So this happens, when a samurai loses their calling, etc. or when they're defeated, they return to a locker ball. We saw this with Ronin. We saw this with Mugen. They turn to locker balls. So now, to end the chapter, we get Daruma. He's like, all right, Benki, I know all your secrets now. You deceived Yoshitsuna and drove him to disintegration. So that's what happens when you're a samurai and then you disintegrate back into a locker ball. And now Kotoga, Yoshitsuna's own son, is your new tool. So now we know confirmation that Yoshitsuna is Kotoga's dad. So now that also confirms that samurai are also able to have kids, considering that they're cyborgs. So I guess they still have some of their human genetic functions going on, I guess, for them to be able to have children. So Benki's like, hey, now that you know there's no use hiding it. That's right, I'm the one who stole everything from him. So Benki and Daruma are talking about Yoshitsuna's past, what happened in the past, what happened to Yoshitsuna, and it seems very recent. Not very recent, but it seems very recently that Yoshitsuna passed away. And Kotoga is now listening in on all this. I'm sure he doesn't have the knowledge of, what actually happened in his past. It's just being used as by Benki, and it's kind of, going back to my flashback where it's like Benki, he's a fraud, he's a schemer, so he figured out some way to turn Yoshitsuna back into a locker ball. And we're going to get more of that next chapter. Next chapter drops December 1st or Friday or Saturday if you're reading the scanlations. Probably going to be more on the scanlations. And I'm probably going to be dropping more videos now that I'm done with school. So let me know what you guys thought about this chapter down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys later today, actually. Peace.